This month, we are speaking or having a conversation about wealth. So we'll speak about money and whatever you think wealth is, being rich, whatever your idea of wealth is. That's what the month's topic is. And my intention for today is for you to integrate the idea of what wealth is within yourself to the point where you will arrive at the end of today or sometime within your month following today, arrive at a point where you realize we never needed to speak about what we spoke about today. Does that make sense? I'm here to talk to you about wealth. That's what this month's topic is. And for a long time, throughout OMG, a lot of people are going, when are we going to speak about wealth? It's always around wealth. When are we going to speak about wealth or manifestation? Manifestation we did in the second month, so we can get it out of the way. But the question is wealth. Well, today we're going to speak about wealth. But if I have done a good job in delivering the topic of wealth for you to have a direct experience of what I'm sharing, by the end of today, you would realize we never needed to speak about that. But we need to speak about it for you to arrive at a point to come to the realization of going, well, we didn't need to speak about that. And why do we not need to speak about it? Because it becomes so irrelevant when you know the truth. Now, irrelevance, there is relevance to it, but when you realize the truth of wealth, it becomes irrelevant. Some of you might be thinking, well, if we never needed to speak about this, why speak about it? To come to the point of realizing that we never needed to speak about it. Until you come to that point, you need to speak about it. You need to experience it. When you're a child and your parents or your guardian tells you do not touch the flame from the fire, until you experience the flame from the fire, you will try. There's a part of you that's itching. Hang on a sec. I just need to know that, is that really hot? And until you experience it, ow. Even though it's been said that it doesn't need to be spoken about, you need to experience that for yourself. So this conversation today and in this month that you'll go into is to come to the realization that of having a direct experience, how irrelevant that topic of wealth is. Maybe I shouldn't have told you that straight up, because you might be sitting here going, throughout today, going, well, it's irrelevant. No, let's find the relevance of it first. And you come to your own realization of how it's irrelevant. Maybe I should word it that way. You may come to a realization by the end of today or throughout your month that it's really irrelevant. For those who were here last month, let's do a quick recap. And for those who weren't there last month, just try to tune in as much as you can. We spoke about that as we come to the back end of the OMG, the second half of OMG, it's all about the phase 3 of consciousness of this work. The first half has all been about an internal process. It's about integrating things internally. It's about reclaiming your power from the external. Okay, so the processing and the integration and how things land is all about internal. Last month we spoke about that the next, or the back end of this program, is about the return home, the journey home. You've gone in, but now we're coming back out. So this next 6 months, or now 5 months, including today, is about coming back out, but coming out back out where? Coming back out to who you are, but before you needed to do that, in order for you to come back out, you must first integrate everything internally. And you can't come back out too early. If the pie isn't cooked, it's not ready. It has to stay in the oven longer. So some of you are thinking, well, hang on a second, I'm not ready to come back out yet. I'm internalizing all this right now. I'm integrating all this right now. And I don't know what you're talking about coming back out. Just understand that everything that I share is speaking to a part of you that already knows this. And when you're ready, you will tune back into what's been spoken about. You'll tune back into what you already know. So it doesn't matter where you are on your path. But this is the time to speak or have the conversation about coming back out. What do I mean about coming back out? I'm not talking about coming out of the closet. Coming back out. If you remember the WTF experience, when we did the oneness meditation, I didn't take you on an inward journey to have that moment of bliss, that moment where you felt no need, that moment where I asked you the question, what do you want right now? And the answer is nothing. What matters right now? And the answer is nothing. We went outwards. Do you remember? Your awareness, I took your attention or your awareness out. And slowly, slowly, we kept going out further and further and further into the physical, which is a reflection of the formless, in the physical universe. Kept going further and further outwards. And it was out there that you experienced safeness, wholeness, joy. You experienced love. Infinite, unconditional, universal love. It was out there that the story became so irrelevant that when I asked you the question, what matters right now, the answer is nothing. It was in the nothingness. So this next 6 months is about coming back out. But you had to go in first. Now, I know I've already spoken about this, but I want to remind you. We spoke about this last month. Last month's topic was the journey. But I want to recap and remind you. Guys, can we also make sure our phones are off? I forgot to mention that, and last month someone had their phone on. Just make sure it's off. Right, if anyone comes in, just let them sit outside of the circle, and then they can come in later, during the break. So that's what we spoke about last month. We also spoke about this next phase is about coming back out into the story. The first 6 months is about coming out of the story. Yeah? It was like, come on, that's just a story. But the next 6 months is about coming back to the story. But it's different. It's different, you see. Before you had power in the story, now you're using your power through the story. It's different. Before you're using your power, right? You're using, remember, the moment you're using your power, now whatever word you have for this power of you, your expanded self, your infinite self, the universe, God, whatever word you have for this infinite part of you, just remember, the moment you have this infinite part of you, and then you have you, what do you have? Duality. In other words, here's the thing. This infinite part of you is not infinite. Because if there's two, you can't have infinite. This next 6 months, and now in this moment, is about you no longer using this power that you perceive to be infinite, because it's not infinite, because the moment you use you and the power, there's two. It's about you becoming the power. You are being the power. Then the power uses you as the identity. The power uses the story. You see, it puts the model upside down. In the reality, there's you, and there's this big power. Whatever you want to call that big power. But it ain't that big, because it's duality. It's not as infinite as you perceive it to be. It's your man-made idea of what this power is. Whether it's God, whether it's the universe, whether it's your expanded self, whether it's your idea of what infinity is. It's man-freaking-made. It's your idea of what this power is, an idea that you made up in your mind. And therefore, now is that idea real? Well, the core of it, the essence of it is, but the form you gave to it is not. Even the form of the universe. This is the universe. The universe will deliver. Well, if there's you and the universe ain't so big as you think it is, because it's duality. And you, as the individual, is always trying to use the universe to manifest your financial situations, to manifest what you love. But even if you do manifest what you love, you realize that you're not free until you do what you love. So in other words, you need to do what you love. Until you become the essence of love, until you become what you love, you will still, even though you're doing what you love to do, and in life you're going, I love my life, I do what I love to do. And you're going, and you may say the idea of, as you go deeper, you'll say, for me, this is not work because I love doing it. If you love what you're doing, it's not work. True, but you still need to do it. You see, that's when you are falling under the idea of there is this universe and there is me. So can you see the limitations there? Yes, you're having a more effortless living, but you're still being finite. You are the drop that has found the ocean within itself, but you're still the drop. You see, when you become the power, you as the power, you then use the story. You use this vehicle. You use the body. You use your ideas. You use your experiences. You use the physical and everything that comes with it. But when you are the physical or your identity, the I as the identity is the form, then you are looking to use the power. Can you see we're putting this idea upside down? You see, that's when it becomes woo-woo. Because people begin to connect with their true essence and they go, there's this infinite part of me, and they feel joy. They feel love. But still at that place, they still can't live it. Because they are now using this part of them. They're having a relationship. In other words, can you see why I'm saying it's man-made? Just like you have a relationship with each other, now you're having a relationship with this other part. And you still give credit to it. You still give thanks to it. And guess what else you give thanks? Guess what else you give to it if you give thanks to it? Hey? Hey? Blame. You see, it's still external. And you're still trying to be good. Okay, in religion you try to be good. Now you've changed religion into spirituality. Now you're trying to be authentic, or you're trying... Can you see what I mean? That there is being authentic, and then there is trying to be authentic. What's trying to be? You have an idea of what authenticity is, which is really being yourself, and then you go and do the things that you need to do in order to be authentic. Can you see it's man-made? Can you see we are changing religion now into spirituality? And then that's why I get up on stage and go, woo, woo, woo. It's the same freaking thing. We just feel more comfortable now, say it's the universe. And yes, great. It's one step closer. One step closer to coming home. We are on the right path. You know, at the same time, I'm kind of dissing it just to get the point across, but at the same time, I'm not dissing it. Because, you know, being spiritual is one step closer to coming back to yourself. And when I say coming back to yourself, here's the thing. When you become the power, there is no power outside of you. There can't be. You cannot be the power and then have your power outside of you. It's impossible. When you become the power, you use your power to express yourself as the power through the form, through the idea, through the experience. The idea comes, the creativity comes, you are painting it. And then you can then see your power in form. And then someone will look at the painting and go, oh, I feel this. And what they're feeling is where the painting has been painted from. You're sitting here listening to my words, and some of you can listen to where the words are coming from, and what you're feeling inside of yourself is not what I'm saying, but where these words are coming from. You're feeling your own power being painted through this identity called Amir right now. So, that's what we spoke about last month. There's a difference between putting your power into something versus using your power through something. There's a difference. Because some of you may be confused right now, going, well, hang on a sec, it's not about the story, it's not about the story. It's not. And when you know it's not about the story, then you can use to express it. That's when the fun and the dance begins. That's when the games and the singing commences. When you know it's not about the story. When you know it's not about the story, when you know the truth about the story, then you use the story. So can you see the first 6 months is to realize it's not about the story. And it doesn't matter where you are right now, this message will be stored for whenever you need it. First 6 months is to realize There's no power outside of you. It is integrating. It is reclaiming your power and realizing that that thing outside of you doesn't have power, that the power is inside of you. That thing outside of you is happening because of you. It's not happening to you. But once you've integrated that, it becomes the return journey. It becomes about coming out now. Like the fish swimming in the ocean. The fish thinks it's swimming in the ocean. It hasn't yet realized it is the ocean that the fish is swimming in. The fish thinks it's swimming in the ocean. It's swimming in the universe, in the formless. It hasn't yet realized that it is not the fish swimming in the ocean, but it is the ocean that the fish is swimming in. Do you understand? You are the power that this fish is swimming in. You are not this fish swimming or amongst the power. Probably asking the question, well, what has this to do with wealth? Everything. Everything. Because if you're the fish, then the fish needs, it needs a home. The fish needs security. It needs to store things, save for like the bear, saves for what do the bears do? Hibernating time. Well, fishes don't do that, but you get my point. You need to save for that time. You don't know you're already at home. When you are home, you don't need a home. The home is all around you. Everything that's happening in the story is just a reflection of what's happening in truth. Microphone, please. And just make sure you switch it on and off, Rach. Yeah. And when you do use the microphone, again, remember on your chin and just don't move it. On your chin. That will support the recording.
This question's been bubbling up as you've been talking.
Yep.
When I am the one, I'm questioning prayer.
Prayer?
Prayer, because to me, prayer implies duality. I'm praying to that divine force. And in that space, I'm the little me.
Listen. When you are the power, you're not praying. But praying is a good sense of connection to oneself, just like meditation is. Okay? People ask me all the time, do you meditate? And I say no. They get shocked, right? Did I meditate at one stage? Yes. I did the silent retreats. I did the, being quiet and sitting down and meditating in the mornings. And I did. Because that was supporting me in realizing, or supporting me in connecting with myself to therefore realize who I am. But, so it depends where you are on your path.
So do you still see a place for prayer in phase 3? Or is it an intention you're setting as?
Like I always say, I want to put the truth out, right? But understand when I put something out, it doesn't mean it's the right way, because everyone's different part of the journey, right? When you become the power, within the truth, there is no tools, there is no techniques, there is no strategies. And prayer, if you like, falls under, it's just another form of meditation. Is that supportive for someone to have a stronger connection with themselves or with their man-made self, idea of self? Yes, it is supportive. But once you bring yourself back home and integrate that and find the completeness in that, then who are you praying to?
That's what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
I'm starting, like I usually do meditate in the morning because I still love to meditate.
Great.
Not because I feel I need to. I feel all day as a meditation, but I just love being in that space.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel uncomfortable praying. It's kind of like I've been one, and then I spend a few moments in duality praying for my family, my friends, for the planet. It doesn't feel, it feels like I've been in that space and I've dropped back into the little me. Except it doesn't feel comfortable anymore praying.
Yeah, I understand. You just do what you feel. Yeah. If you feel to pray, you pray. If you feel to meditate, you meditate. If you feel to be vegan, you be a vegan. You know, the feeling is guiding you. But all I'm speaking about is ultimately you're going to get to a point where whatever you felt got you to that point, you will realize it wasn't that got you to that point, it was you using that as a guidance. It's like your intuition, you think you're using your intuition to arrive at a place or to guide you or support you. You don't realize that you are your intuition. That voice is you talking to the part of you that thinks it's separate. Until you get to a point of realizing, hang on a sec, there is no intuition, there is no me. It was all me. I just used that voice because that was supportive for when I felt separate to have an intuition that was telling me or supporting me. So there. That's what we spoke about last month. Let's start with this month. What do you reckon? Now, everything I spoke about is very interrelated, interconnected, whatever word you want to use, of what we're about to speak about. So there's no mistake. I just shared all that. So my question to you guys is, why do we want wealth? Let's put that in the circle. Who wants wealth? Come on. All right. So then why do you want it? Let's talk about why we want it before we can address it even further. Microphone, please.
To make the experience more fun and more enjoyable. And
so you need wealth to do that?
probably not, but yeah, I mean, with wealth you can actually do more.
Okay, great, thank you. Anyone else?
To me, wealth is freedom and choices.
Okay, so you want wealth because it gives you freedom, it gives you choices. All right, microphone. Try to get out. Yeah, give it to me. Go, Dicko.
Because not having it
Yep.
can be a real distraction. That's actually more so than having it. It's this thing of thinking that you need it and it becomes a distraction in life.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Anyone else? So Sean's saying not having it becomes a distraction. Distraction from what? Just use the mic.
Distraction from being, well, it's one of the, I guess, many distractions that you can have in the day-to-day life that stops you from what you were saying essentially, which is realising that you don't need it. So it's a I guess a distraction that takes your mind, takes your I guess ego and so forth in your mind, your day-to-day mind, busies it.
So are you saying that if you had wealth, then you wouldn't be distracted on following what's true for you and your truth?
Not necessarily, but I think I think it's a distraction.
Okay, so
I think in truth it's not a distraction, but I think it's a distraction. My head is saying that it's a distraction.
okay. Well, here's the thing: when you have power in money or, financial freedom from wealth, it is more of a distraction than. That's more of a distraction towards your truth. It's because everything that is happening is happening because of the story still. Whether you have options, it's because I have money. Whether you have comfort, it's because I have money. So those things, and that's why sometimes people, if you like, turn the lights off outside or take away their options outside, so they realize the option's not coming from the outside. So it actually becomes more of a distraction. Are we saying the same thing? Or?
Yeah, I think so. I think because it's not. It's not my technical assistant here. It's
I thought he was grabbing the mic because he wanted to say something.
I've lost my thought now, but you were right. So
Okay.
I think we were sort of on the same path. I think the thing is, you realise that wealth is not going to make you happy.
Yeah.
But we are surrounded by lots of stimulus that says wealth will make us happy. So it is a distraction on a day-to-day basis. But I think if you ask anyone here, as you said a number of times, I think deep down we know that that's not the thing that's going to make us happy, but we kind of are distracted by this quest to get it because we think ultimately it will make us happy.
And that's why I'm speaking about this, because most of you understand. You understand that it's not going to make you happy, so therefore we need to speak about it until you know that the physical wealth or money, let's just call it money, because some of you think, oh, wealth is internal. Okay, well, let's change that word from wealth to money. Okay, I did this in Melbourne the other day, yesterday or the day before, and everyone was like, well, hang on a sec, wealth is internal. All right, money. Oh, okay. Riches. All right, most people know or understand that it's not going to make you happy. All right, but the knowing hasn't yet set in. And that's why most people go, I know this, I know this, I know this. I go, no, you don't know it. And how many times I say that to people? You don't know it, because if you didn't know it, if you knew it, you wouldn't be saying that. Or if you knew it, you would be living differently. You understand it. There's a big difference between knowing it and being able to live it versus understanding that. You understand because you've had little moments of going, oh yeah, that didn't make me happy. But those little moments haven't dropped into a core level where you actually know it. And that's what my love for you guys today is to take that knowing or that understanding to a point where it becomes a deeper knowing. So when it becomes a deeper knowing, you will then go, why are we talking about this? And you're probably going, well, it's important, but go back to that meditation, the oneness meditation you did at the WTF, or you can still do it at any time in your life. When you do that oneness meditation, when you're at that point of bliss, what's most important then? It's almost like if I came to you then and go, hey, let's talk about your financial situation, you'll be like, can you go back to that moment? You'd be like, why do I need to talk about that? That's got nothing to do with who I am and where I am. Now, what I want you to realize and have a knowing is that who you are and where you are when you have that moment is actually in this moment of physical form as well. But you need to find that space, because that's all it is. We go out into space, which is the first thing that I'm going to be talking about probably after morning tea, is that it is not money that you run out of. Never, ever, ever, ever do you lack money. You lack space. But we have a few more hands up, and then I'll talk about lacking space. So you're already getting an idea of what today's about. It's not the money, it's the space.
What you're saying there is exactly what I was thinking. We have this perception of wealth that increases capacity within our lives. With whatever you hold the wealth in, it's a capacity we're looking for to give us more space, which you just said. It's that's what I wanted to share. Capacity's been coming up a lot for me in the last months and so forth, and I've wondered why. And I think that's where today is resonating with me really well.
So what you're saying is that in the physical form or in the story, we're looking for wealth because it gives us more space within the story.
More capacity.
More capacity, which is what we describe as freedom. But really, the space or capacity that we're looking for is within the formless space, not within the physical form.
Correct. Well, wealth in itself is finite, and we're trying to expand the capacity to take in more wealth.
Yeah.
But all we're doing is increasing finite.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Very good. Thanks, David. This is what I want to talk to you about today. I want to talk to you about how to have that infinite bank account. You know, it's a metaphor. Sometimes I say to people, you know, in the WTF I talk about, you know, I have an infinite bank account. When I'm in America, I convert or I transform my universal currency into US currency. When I'm in Australia, I convert or transform my universal currency into Aussie dollars. When I'm in New Zealand, same thing, I convert or transform the universal dollars into NZ dollars. Now, it's just a little metaphor, right? So I tell people, I have an infinite bank account. I have a bank account with the infinite universe. Okay, I have an infinite credit card. Okay? But that infinity does not come from how much money is in my bank account or how much money is not in my bank account. It comes from the space that I hold. It comes from my internal capacity, which is what people call the internal wealth. And inner wealth doesn't come from how good you think you are, what you've done. It doesn't come from past or future. It doesn't come from any external related stories. That inner wealth that most people talk about is an inner space. If I go to Coles or Woolworths or the shopping centre, wherever people are watching this in the world, I think Coles is Australian, and I think to myself, I can buy as much as I want, and I want to buy as much as, you know, for it to last a long time. I would go and buy all these things and come home and realize my space within the fridge is limited. So everything that I've just bought, I can't have anyway. I have to throw it out. So even if the universe wanted to give it to me, to talk in the personal development language, even if the universe wanted to give it to me, it couldn't. It wants to, because the universe's essence is an energy of abundance. You didn't come here, you came here to live abundantly. But then you've got this small fridge. Well, there's no space. Even if the universe wanted to give it to you, you get what I'm saying here, you don't have the space. The fridge is already full. And even if you put something in there, it becomes full. So all these things that you bought in from the shopping centre, you're like, well, what am I going to do with all this? I actually don't have the space. So it gets rejected back out. You have to give it away. And then you create stories where you self-sabotage and you lose things. And you're like, I always self-sabotage. You know, I found somebody to love me, or I found the perfect relationship, or I found the perfect business, or a perfect idea. But then I self-sabotage. Why did you self-sabotage? You didn't have the space. The idea came, the feeling, the energy came to be, and the feeling and the energies come into form to be painted, But then you're like, I don't have the space. You have to reject it. So it's never money. Like this is, I understand where you're at, because it was so difficult to grasp this. When my mother used to say, Amir, stop trying to make money. It's not what you've run out of. It's not what you lack. It's not what you want more of. You just don't have the space. You're spinning your wheels. But I used to go, what does she mean by space? I'd go empty out my garage, empty out my house, empty out my paperwork, my desk, put everything clean, which is just on the physical level. But what's the space? How do you make more space? So can you grasp the idea that you do not lack money? You lack space. And this is the thing. You can't go past this point and if you're full of shit. You gotta see that point. We get people all the time, like I sometimes have clients who go, this doesn't feel true for me, right? We spoke about this last month, about feeling moved, right? And we had a different definition of what really feeling moved was. So a client will go, for example, they want to do the retreat with us, and one of the consultants or the coaches are speaking with them about it, and they go, no, it doesn't feel true for me, right? And so I always tell the guys, there's one way to find out if it's not true for them. Ask them if we can give it to you for free, would you be interested? So they're dead set, oh no, it doesn't feel true. Amir told me to follow what's true. Yeah, look, I understand, you do that. But hey, by the way, if I was able to give, and I give this just to show, I use this, I train my guys just to show how full of shit people are. And I'm sorry, okay? But I need to give it to you straight. And if you're taking this personally, then you're the one that's full of shit. Don't take it personally. Because when I say how full of shit people are, it's funny, when I say things like this on the webisodes, I have people react. And I was like, well, who said you're full of shit? Was I talking to you? Obviously, you're the one that's full of shit. You're like, how can you say people are full of shit? I was like, well, people are full of shit. But are you the one that's full of shit? Obviously, you just put your hand up and went, hey, I'm full of shit. So just in case you're taking it personally, you know why, right? People are full of shit. And I want to show my guys as part of the training, don't believe people's stories. It's their biggest training, right, is to not fall for the story of others. And the only reason they fall for their story is because they've fallen for their own. So I show them, tell that client there you just spoke to, if I can give you this for free, and we can give you, we want you to experience this program, would you? Would you then attend it? Now this is the client that says it feels true not to, right? Every single time. I mean, nearly 99.9% of the time, the client would turn around and went, oh yeah, why? Well, it's meant to be, obviously. Well, why isn't it meant to be that the money comes to you and you pay for it? Why isn't that meant to be? Can you see? And I've done this so many times to the consultant, Rachel's seen it, these guys have seen it. And they just sit there going, holy shit. So, the point is, right, if you're about the money, don't try not to be about the money. You must first see it. Because the person who's going, oh, it's true for me, it's not true for me, they are all about the money. What's true for them, right, is I am about the money. And what I mean when you're about the money, it means you have your power in money. And money, like I've spoken about many times, is one of the 3 biggest areas that we put our power in. All right? One of them. Money, then there's relationships, and there's health. And then there's this external, I should say there's 4 parts then. This external entity that you put power in all the time. And, you know, I'm not saying there isn't an external entity. I'm just saying your idea of that external entity is something you've made up. It's my angels. I'm not saying it's not real. It's just that's that energy, you gave it a form and called it Angel Michael. Angel Michael saved me. Cool. If that's what works for you in the story, then great. But the thing is, you still put power into something. And I'm using all these different examples because ultimately I want you to realize that what you're doing is you're putting your power in money rather than using your power through the story, like I spoke about at the beginning. So many times I've shared with you in previous OMGs, when I choose with my head to follow a decision that's in my heart, and the decision in my heart is already made. Then that decision that's already made, in other words, I become one with the decision, then that forms itself into the story. Whether it's money showing up, whether it's an idea showing up that creates money, whether it's circumstances or people showing up, they're all me. Now, people would love to live like that because you are free. You're not doing things to become free. You are already being free. Your decisions, most people's decisions, and this is what I mean by people are full of shit. Their decision, and I know this because I was one of those people, right? I just know myself. That's how I know people, right? Because the decision they're making from here is a strategy in order so they can become free. There's a difference when you are free and you're choosing to express your sense of freedom versus when you are wanting freedom and you make decisions, strategies. Strategies means, is this better or is this worse? Which one is better or worse? Duality, strategy. Which one is going to get me the outcome that is a positive, that's not a negative? Duality. It's making a decision from there going, oh, this is what's true for me. Oh, please. In other words, it's making a decision to become free. You must first be free, not do the things to become free. Hence the name of our company. Be free, people. So the first thing that we need to understand or know, all right, is that the money doesn't give you freedom. If anything, if you don't have freedom, the money will just take up space. And I said space is what you lack, not money. So how does it take up space? Because the money creates you to think about it. The thinking is what takes up space. In fact, what takes up space causes you to think. It goes both ways. So the first step is you got to look and have a real conversation with yourself. Have a real conversation with it. Just look at every time you choose, all right? I promise you, most of your choices are already financially. I'm telling you right now. Okay, I'm going to be honest, right? But what I want you to do is be honest with yourself. Because most people are trying, they've now, you know, the religion, they've changed into spirituality. So now they're trying to, you know, before they're climbing the religious or being good ladder, now they're climbing the spiritual ladder, right? Because now they're trying to be, well, I don't want it to be about the money. It is about the money. So then they disguise and go, no, this feels true for me. It doesn't feel true to go on this holiday, but it does. But they think they can't. I think if anything I can give to you that is the most raw and most powerful thing is for you to have a look at yourself and just be real, all right? I'm telling you right now, you are making choices based on money. How do I know that? Because there was many times where I thought to myself, I'm not making choices based on money, and I would look and go, oh, wow, look at that. Like, you're not going to be free by making decisions to become free. You must first find freedom. I remember I did a webisode, I think it was just the last one or the one before, when I was in LA with Jamie. I was driving in the car, and it was a good lesson for Jamie, so I shared it with everyone on the webisode. And Jamie said to me, I was looking at the webisodes and I was like, oh wow, and I felt a sense of appreciation for, you know, there's all these people watching the webisodes. And when I say all these people, there was like 400 people that would just watch the weeks before webisodes. And I was like, wow, people are obviously really enjoying it. I'm glad that people are getting something from these webisodes, right? And I said it out loud. I said, that's really awesome. I feel like really appreciative that people are watching it, right? And Jamie goes, well, how many people watch it? I said, oh, 400 or something. And he goes, well, speak to me when it's 10,000. I was like, why would I speak to you when it's 10,000? He goes, what's 400? That's nothing. I don't know why you're appreciative of that. That doesn't say anything. And I was just like, well, let me ask you a question, Jamie. And I'm always about pointing out how full of shit my team are, right? And I said, Jamie, let me ask you a question. Why would it be better if it was 10,000? He goes, oh, you know, because you're going to be helping more people. Look at the ego. Oh, we're going to be helping more people. It's obviously impacting people. 400 people. You want to more is better. Like you're going to be helping more people. I go, no. Why don't you be really honest with yourself and tell yourself why it would be better for you? Because it's all about you. Why would it be better for you if 10,000 people were viewing it? He's like, because I love this. I love what I do. I love what I do. This is what they always say, you know, when they need to do what they love. They're like, I'm not saying Jamie doesn't love what he does. He does. Okay, and that's the first step, is to do what you love, but then you fall in need of doing it. In other words, what you love to do is bringing you financial security, if you like, right? So you still need to do it. So you're not still free. And I said, tell me why 10,000 is better. And he's dead set like, Amir, I just love helping people. I love what I do, and I just want to do it bigger. I said, Jamie, all right, this is for you. Be honest. Go behind that feeling that you're having that you love to share this, and see if there's anything else behind there. And he goes and stops, and Jamie's very willing. Stops, looks behind that and goes, well, okay, well, if there's more people, then I would have more clients. Ah, more clients. And I can help those clients, and I can coach them. And I go, oh, what does that mean? Because, well, I'm doing what I love, and I'm helping people again. Okay, what does that really mean, Jamie? He sits like that. Well, I can make more money more effortlessly, and I can then, you know, travel business class with you. I'm sick of going back there in economy. Every time I fly, I'm like crossing my fingers for an upgrade. I don't want to do that. I want to go business class. And that's the illusion. The illusion is he needs more money to fly business class. I said, Jamie, I don't fly business or first because I have more money. I do that because I have more space. And if my space gets taken up, then in the story, I would have less money. And then I could perceive that I can't fly that way. It's space. You see, how many people do you know who have money and can't spend it anyway? Why can't they? Like, how many people do you know? Probably family members. They've got the money. But because they don't have the space, they can't use it. They can't use it as to experience the appreciation of it. How many people do you know that way? I've got friends that are like that way. I'm like, why are they living that way? Like, these guys are like triple, quadruple what I make. Like, what's going on? Well, they built something in their head. Well, we need to build for the future. We need to do this. So they create a story that says, I can't touch my money. And if they do, they have this little moment of, you know, and they go, wow. And like, for example, they give themselves a holiday or something once a year, where your entire life, every moment is meant to be a holiday. Seriously. Every moment. But they give themselves a holiday and then they travel first class or whatever, and they do that once a year and they go, see, all the hard work paid off. But for the rest of the year, they're freaking living in the prison again because they can't touch it. They can't use it. You know, this year, I had a whole bunch of friends of mine who are going, like last year we all went to Hawaii. All my friends, their girlfriends, wives, kids, whatever, we all ended up going to Hawaii and we all met there. Me and my girlfriend and my family, we went around the world and we finished off in Hawaii to meet up with them, and it was a great trip. And this year, the guys, a few of them came to my house for dinner the other day, and they were all speaking about, you know, going to Thailand. And I was like, we're booking it, you know, the wives, the kids, you know, we've got a big villa, and I was just like, I just really didn't feel to go. And I looked at Sally, I said, do you want to go? And she's like, no, I don't want to go. And I was like, and after everyone left, and I said to the guys, look, we're going to give this one a miss. And afterwards, when they left dinner, and they were like, all right, cool, no problem. After they left, I said to Sally, why didn't we want to go? You're like, it'll be fun, you know? My logical brain's kicking in going, why wouldn't we want to go? You know? It's not like we can't afford it or, you know, and when I say I can't afford it, it has nothing to do with how much money I have or not have, because the decision's not made from there, right? Because if the decision's made from there, even if I have it, I wouldn't be able to spend it, like the example I just gave. And you know what the answer came to us? Like, every day is like a holiday for us. And I just want to have a holiday just staying at home and just having no plans of being in Hawaii, being in Italy. You know, I just want to, every day is a holiday. Like, I live as though every day is a holiday because it feels like that. Seriously. That doesn't mean I don't work, because people think usually, well, holiday means it doesn't work. No, I do. Well, like I just spent last month 3.5 weeks in America. I probably did more work than I ever do when I'm in the office. It was just moving through me. I was just writing all this new marketing and writing all this new, a new program that I'm coming up with next year. And when I say writing, I'm not designing it, but the idea comes to me. But you see, that's what life is meant to be. Life is meant to be a holiday every day. But most people think, well, I need money. You know, I go to the gym every morning, not every morning, a few mornings a week. In fact, our whole team, it's not all of them come. Lately, they haven't all been coming, but it's something that our whole team does. And where I work out, you know, Origin of Energy, which is it's in Bondi Junction, and it's above the bus station. For a sec, I thought I was in America, so I'm trying to describe where it is. You guys all know where it is. It's above the bus station and the train station, right? And I finish the session usually around 8 o'clock. And at 8 o'clock, I'm leaving. And right about there that's when you see all these buses coming, bus after bus loads, and you look at these bus doors open, and there's like people, cramming out, and they go from the bus straight down to the train station, and they walk like this. They're like machines. Why do we become like machines? It's seriously like the Matrix. And I look at them and I'm like, I know, like, it's very rare for me to find one person in that crowd that are all like marching like ants that actually feel like they're alive. Wealth is being alive. Freedom is being alive. You don't lack freedom, you lack space. You don't lack wealth or money, you lack space. The same sense of freedom, the same sense of aliveness that you felt when we went out in the oneness meditation, and you felt that amongst the space, amongst the expansiveness of that space. But then people are like, yeah, but how do I live this in my everyday life? It's like looking at a painting that's been painted and going, but Amir, how do I change this painting? You don't. You paint a new painting. Space. It's all about space. Like, I'm gathering by now you're starting to, some of you at least, start to drop in to realize, wow, it's not about wealth. But even when you go back into your everyday life, when the bill comes, when the financial or the pressure comes, just understand that pressure is not because of the story. The pressure you're experiencing, which if you go back to reflections, in the month of reflections, the pressure that you're experiencing has nothing to do with your financial strain. The pressure you're experiencing is a pressure that you're holding on to within yourself. So then you create a story that you can reflect, that you can say is the cause of this pressure. Along this path, you look at this, along this path, how many of you, this is month 8 now, how many of you have come to a point of realizing where a circumstance has showed up, and amongst that circumstance, or within that circumstance, if you experienced that 3 months ago or 6 months ago, you would have had a resistance or a reaction. But then you're like, and then you experience the same circumstance and you're like, I don't feel reactive to this. In fact, I feel very at peace at this. Put your hands up if you've experienced that. Every single one of you have experienced that. Why? The circumstances didn't freaking change, did it? Same freaking circumstances. In fact, probably even worse. Because your space became bigger. We spoke about this in a couple months ago where we said, you will never overcome your fear. Stop trying to overcome your fear. Here's your fear. It's not the fear that you need to overcome. It's the space. You need to have bigger space. Because if your space is here, can I borrow your hand? Put your hand right here. Okay. Put your hand right there. Okay. This is your fear, right? When your space is that much, all right, there's a story that you think is the cause of your fear, but it's because the fear is living within you, right? And you're thinking, I have this pressure inside of me. I have this. Yeah, it's because it's your space. There's not much space between the fear and you. But as you expand your space, what happens? What happens? What happens to the fear? The fear is still there. The same story may still show up, but you're not having the same reaction because you have all this space around it. And you're like, it's the same thing showing up. I just don't feel reactive towards it. Thank you. You know, imagine the fear is still there and the space is as much as this room. Who's starting to realize that how irrelevant it is? Like, guys, even in your everyday life. I'm going to talk more about this after the break. I think we should have a break soon. I want to talk more about this. Even in your everyday life, because people go, but how does that apply in my everyday life? Make more space in your everyday life. We'll talk about everyday life stuff. Let's see what time I have. Yeah? Okay, before we take a break, does anyone have any questions about what we've spoken about so far? Any shares, any contributions? Microphone, please.
Okay, I'm not disagreeing with anything you said, but why do we have to have money then?
Why do you have to have that body then?
Yeah, but why do we have to have money? I mean, at one point in time, we all lived on a barter system, and then this money thing came in where everyone values you, your service, whatever you're worth.
It's part of the it's part of the story.
Part of the story, sure. But
why do you have to have sex?
yeah, but I don't quite get the whole money thing. It's almost like a jars. It's kind of a non-necessity. You know, like a lot of things you're talking about, the freedom, the just living life, that would all be possible if money didn't exist.
Why did you come here? You got to go back to the WTF.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, if you're already in infinite land,
Yeah.
you already naturally feel abundant.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you come and manifest yourself into form, into the drop of the ocean, and perceive that you're no longer the ocean that the drop is part of, but you are the drop amongst this massive universe, the ocean? Mm-hmm. Why did you do that? Let me answer your question for you.
Mm.
You got to keep hearing this so many times.
Mm.
Because when you were 100% abundant and infinite, there was only one infinite. Why was there only one infinite? Even logically, we can even understand this, because there can't be two infinites. Because if there's two infinites, then both are no longer infinite. So in order for there to be two infinite, and why would you want there to be two infinite? Game. Play with other infinites. Why would an infinite being need to do that? It doesn't need to do that. It would love to do that. But in order for it to do that, it has to manifest itself to feel separate. And the moment it feels separate, it's no longer abundant. It perceives no longer to be in abundance. And then it creates all this story, which is a reflection of what's going on. Everything that's happening, don't buy into the money thing. You know, you look at the money and the government's charging you taxes, and don't buy into that. And you come and have all these strategies about, you know, how you can save money and not pay taxes, and you know, it's just you're just looking at changing the story. Just make more space, more money will come. Give more money to the government. Who cares? There's something else I was just going to say.
Limiting. The money's just a really limiting concept in the story.
The money is your
construct that
prison.
we've put in there. Okay.
It's
It's always just seemed really to jar, to just not fit somehow.
Yeah, because it's
It's a distraction.
because you think to yourself, well, hang on, this doesn't feel right. I mean,
Yeah.
it shouldn't. What you're really saying is it should not be about the money.
Yeah.
But then you think, well, in society we should just take money away. You're trying to change the story.
Yeah.
Everything in the story is just a metaphor. The Big Bang Theory, you know, the different religious texts, this idea of heaven and hell. It's just, heaven and hell is here. If you're living with no space, it's hell. If you're living in space, it's heaven. Because the spaceness is home, it's infinity.
So
Because infinity is just space.
So for the most part, I don't worry about the money, but then I continually have people telling me I should worry about the money.
That's because you
that are
worry
coming
about the money, and the people in the
Yeah.
story are your
in. I'm
reflection
creating it. Yeah. Yeah.
who are showing you what you're worried about.
Okay. Yeah.
But just remember, every story that takes place, don't buy into it. Oh, all this money situation, oh, the global economy, these are all just little reflections of what's really taking place. You don't have to be what's his name? Nostradamus. It's just reflections. you're going to be bad, you're going to go to heaven, hell, you'll be good, you're going to have... It's just a reflection. This prophet came and told these stories, and then he had Mary, and then they had Jesus, and then there was Muhammad, and there was Buddha, and Buddha sat under this tree. And these are just stories of what's really going on right now. And there's this one, and the one is going to return. The prophet will return. The one, the infinite, is going to return through the many. In other words, all the drops are going to realize they're infinite. And there's going to be infinity times infinity. There's going to be lots of infinite beings amongst the physical. They're just stories. But you're here through the stories you relate, because the stories talk about duality. When I get up in the WTF, I'm just telling stories. I'm never telling them the truth. Do you know I would have probably been shot by now, or, not shot by a gun, but like verbally. People would be just like hammering me on stage. It'd be some of the things I'm saying. But I'm not saying anything, I'm just sharing stories. But through the stories, they have reference points and they go, oh, that's exactly what's happening to me. And they feel it. It's just stories. And then guess what? Through the story, you realize who you are. And when you realize who you are, then you paint your own story. You're not the story, you're not the painted, you are the painter.